So yeah, but you won this weekend, and you had a
Dega.
Barstool helmet at Talladega, and
An off-access Barstool helmet, by the way.
and the
An off-
Barstool
off
press
access.
was there.
Yeah, as he was going by this weekend, Davey Dega, he was down there all weekend getting the NASCAR VIP treatment, if you will.
He
They
got
threw him
treated
into the
pretty
big
well.
one.
Yeah.
He was partying with all the fans, doing some pizza reviews with Kyle Busch. I think he did one with Austin.
Have you
Yeah,
done?
he's just super opinionated,
Have
and
you
I mean
done
he's
a pizza
perfect leader
review?
for. No, I haven't. I've never done a pizza review. My buddy Eric Penz is real big on doing pizza reviews around here.
I saw that.
I get a kick out of watching him. I think I've done
Penza
one or
does
two
them?
with him. Yeah, I've done
Yeah.
one or two with him.
Penza's from
fun.
up there. He thinks
Yeah.
he is Barstool, basically, right?
Well, he's from 2 towns over from where Portnoy's from,
so that
it's really close.
He's Barstool.
and Carabas and him went to high school together.
I saw.
Who?
Carabas, he's a guy on there that talks mainly about baseball.
Did you know
I'm from up
that
there.
Caleb Presley, the thinker who signed the back
Yeah.
of the helmet,
Yeah.
is related to Coleman Presley?
I heard that.
Did you know that guy's dad died in a race car at Asheville Fairgrounds or Asheville Speedway? I did not know that
Caleb's
either.
dad.
He had a heart attack. Like, he didn't crash and die.
Oh, jeez.
But
No, I didn't.
because it's funny because he goes to the racetrack and acts stupid like he doesn't know anything about the sport when he does his interviews at Daytona all the
Yeah.
time. And it's like, he gets it.
Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
You've been around it.
Yeah. But
I didn't. I wasn't aware. I'd heard that Coleman and him were related, but I didn't know about that part.
yeah.
Asheville did.
Why would you start our show off with such a
So morbid.
morbid
just-
thought?
Because it's
Jeez.
funny that
We can only go up from here, though.
I guess, yeah.
It's funny that so many people, like especially the first year he came, whenever it was 2 years ago, were like, "Get this retard out of here," and it's like, no, maybe he's probably sacrificed more at racing than a lot of people have.
Yeah, he's probably been playing tracks.
So
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I think a couple years ago, like they came in there and were interviewing some of the other drivers, and they just didn't even know what, like they didn't understand like what was going on. They took it way too seriously. Like the last time, I think they came and did the
In Daytona?
Coke 400 like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh,
Caleb was
Barstool?
interviewing. Yeah, Caleb was like interviewing drivers, and the one that sticks out to me was Danica because she wasn't mad, but she just didn't like.
They didn't get it.
She was
didn't
way
care
too
about it.
serious.
Yeah.
She was way too serious. She didn't understand what was going on.
well, Barstool 2 years ago was more. I think today everybody knows what it is.
Yeah.
But 2 years ago it was more like our generation and younger. I think we were being, upper 20s. I think we were the cap of really what new was going
It's
on.
kind of like
and
the
then-
Facebook wave,
Yeah. So
comes
then,
over. Now everyone knows what it is.
so then now everybody knows. So if she was back doing it, like
Oh yeah.
that, what'd they say to her? All those other times were not your time, but this time is your time.
I'm gonna have to look that up. Did you see
It's-
the video from Dega
good.
from like the Boulevard that Davey Dega put out? It's great. He just goes up and interviews the most drunken fans he could possibly find, and it's the funniest thing I've ever seen.
So I did something similar to that this weekend, but I did it around 5 o'clock. So I had a lot of the
When the daylight
40 to 50-year-old people that were
5
reaching
p.m.
their
5
peak.
a.m.
p.m. Did I say 5 a.m.?
No,
I
you
meant
said
5 p.m.
you just said 5.
I mean, the sun was
I
still
was just
up.
clarifying.
It was after we practiced. It was like 5, 6 or whatever. An hour or two before we went down the boulevard on the big one, parade. And yeah, it was just nothing but like the 50-year-old people. I think some of the younger kids haven't even woken up yet,
Yeah,
or they were eating
that's
breakfast.
my buddy.
finally.
He was down there, and he's like, yeah, I went on the Boulevard, just okay, and he was in bed by 10, and I was like, well, you can't be in bed by
No.
10.
If you go to bed at 10, you don't even see the beginning or
That's
the
what
end.
I was telling him. It was his first time down there. I'm like, dude, you got to be out at like 1, 2 a.m. That's when the good stuff happens
It
in
starts.
Talladega.
It's starting to happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, but not you. You didn't see that. You were in bed probably. But
No, I was in bed midnight Friday night. Yeah.
Good job. I'm proud of you.
What
Yeah.
was the crazy night?
Alexa
Friday
pulled the
night
plug
or
on me at
Saturday
midnight.
night?
We drove home Saturday.
But what's the crazy night? Like every night
I
that
think
every night that I've
Saturday.
been there, the next
Um,
day I've had to do something, so I'm not staying.
So
out
I
that
feel like the night you probably get the craziest would be Friday night for the
Yeah.
Cup drivers, and some Xfinity drivers that aren't that smart. But I'd say that's when most of the interesting things happen, when you see the, more established people maybe have a little bit of too much fun.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
honestly, Cup guys, they don't have anything to do except qualify like
Yeah.
5 p.m. or something,
And-
or after the Xfinity.
Yeah. Like after the Xfinity race, they got nothing.
So let's talk about the Xfinity race real fast. Usually we don't talk about the last race that happened, but You're throwing blocks. Well, first, you have a torn up race car, and I thought you were maybe done.
Yeah, even before that, before the race even started. Sorry, my lips bothering me.
It's okay.
You'll be all
I'm
right.
getting very distracted.
It's okay.
Wait,
Before the
did you
race
get-
even
It's nerve
started.
wracking to talk to
Did you get
us.
something weird on
I'm
your
very,
lip
very
on the
nervous.
boulevard this
Yeah.
weekend?
No,
What happened?
I hope not.
Something growing on
Is that
there?
what it is?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
You tell me.
You can't see it up on the screen, so we're good.
Did you leave Talladega with something that'll last forever?
What happens in Talladega
Yeah.
stays in
Does not-
Talladega.
A win.
Except for that.
A win, a check,
Yeah, okay.
and
all
that
right.
90-pound anvil trophy that is
A check,
almost
100
impossible.
grand.
100 grand, man.
100.
You didn't pick
grand.
that thing up?
It's 90 pounds. I tried. I picked it up a little earlier today when I took it out of the
I
shop.
watched two guys set it on the podium in victory lane, and it literally took two dudes to like throw it down. And you
Yeah.
could tell like when they put it down, like it shook the stage.
The guys in the shop were looking at me weird when I was unloading the lead cart. They're like, "What are you doing with the lead cart?" And I'm like, "I'm getting the trophy." They're like, "Why?" I'm like, "You'll see in a second." So I brought it through the shop, and everyone's laughing at me for dragging it through the shop. I said, "Well, come pick it up."
What's it made out of?
It's steel,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
solid.
Yeah, it's big. It's nice.
I think the cup trophy's even bigger than the Xfinity trophy,
I
isn't it?
wouldn't. I mean, if you
I know
don't
they're all
really-
different. That's what's cool about that place.
If your team finishes 16th, you don't really get to see the trophy.
Yeah, but
Uh,
Penske's won 6 out of the last 10, right?
Not me.
Not him.
I've won a couple Xfinity races there, and I won back in the day with like Tony and Jay McMurray. But the trophy's changed since then.
Yeah. The trophy, I think it's been this way for the last. Actually, I think last year was the first year of this new
Yeah,
trophy.
I don't think it's been that long.
But it's
with
it's
like
really,
the guy
really cool.
holding the.
Yeah, the Vulcan.
Yeah,
It's,
I think
uh,
that's newer.
It's Russell tells me, the guy that does a lot of stuff over there at Talladega, a great guy, that it's the cup trophy's supposed to be an image or a representation of the statue they have in Birmingham.
Oh.
But the anvil, I think, is something next to the statue or something like that.
It's just
But
an
it's
anvil
still
laying
really
out
heavy
there.
and still really cool.
I saw a couple arguments on Twitter this week, and it'd be good to ask you. So, do you feel like pulling in the victory lane there or winning? I heard a couple comments. I guess the big thing I saw was people were talking about if they feel like the post-race interview on the track, and then they do another interview in victory lane if it takes away from one or the other. And then someone said, well, why don't they just do victory lane on the front stretch? What
Well,
do you
some
feel
places
like?
do.
Yeah, and like Martinsville
Yeah.
and stuff. But what would you think, especially at a cup race, what would you think would be a better dynamic there? Do you like pulling into victory lane, or would you like more of a short track feel where it's a little bit more intimate with
No,
the
I
fans?
feel like, victory lane where it's at, like Daytona's victory lane, Talladega's victory lane, Las Vegas Motor Speedway's victory lane.
That's probably second to none.
They're all like very special, and you remember watching them or watching, drivers get out of their race car in those areas. So for me, it's more nostalgia. I know some of these racetracks or some victory lanes that you don't really think of, like Phoenix maybe. I always thought Dover's victory lane was pretty cool. It's always kind of been in that little spot. It's small, it's older, but for me, it's more the nostalgia of victory lane that I like. And to answer, an interview on the racetrack and in your victory lane, like just interview the guy when he gets out of his car. He may get out of the car and get the flag, hop back in his car and go to victory lane. Just wait till then, interview him once. Like, nothing frustrates me more when TV is tight on time when a race goes along, and they only interview the winner twice, and they don't get to interview somebody else. I would almost be okay with, right after the race is over, if they grab the crew chief and interview him real quick while you're coasting back around to do your burnouts, and they, you can listen to the crew chief being interviewed or show the crew chief being interviewed while the driver's celebrating. We don't need to talk to the driver twice.
These are good problems to have for you.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't
trying
really
to
call it
figure
a
out-
problem yet
trying
because
to
it only
figure
happened
out-
once so far.
Oh yeah, but you guys have been fast with that 2-car. I saw Cam Strader, your
Yeah.
car chief for front end mechanic. Or
Yes.
He was a front end mechanic with me on the 14. We actually won a championship working together. And he is not a sentimental guy. And I saw some sappy posts from him this week about how he loves the team he's with. You guys are all working together, so you must have a good deal going. If
Well,
you got him being sappy.
I felt really bad for him. Kayla Wapham, Colleen, Oberly, those three missed this weekend. Kayla had a wedding. We didn't have a lot of engagement going on the sponsorship with our car. With Roland, they didn't have a lot of people coming to the track, so Colleen didn't go to the race. She stayed home. And Cam's stepfather, I believe, passed away, so Cam
Ooh.
missed the race, and we had Josh Sisko come instead. And I know Buddy Sisko really well from BKR days. Josh is his son. So we had a couple people, and the joke was like, you're going to end up winning this weekend because we're all missing this race.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
Got
we
it done.
did, and they all, like Kayla was upset, happy, but like upset at the wedding. She got the bar opened at the wedding early. Cam was really happy about it. Colleen was frustrated. So it's kind of like ironic that we won the race.
But your
when a lot of
team's
people were missing it.
pretty tight knit then.
Yes, we have a blast. I mean, we right from the get-go, even before the season even started, me and Randall were forming our relationship.
Randall's a
on
stud.
the night that I won my championship, we got out of the banquet, and I don't know how it happened, but I convinced him to come to Whiskey River for the Junior Motorsports Championship toast, and we all had a very good time and got to know each other very well right off the bat. My family got to know him and Deanna, and right from the get-go, that relationship was already going pretty well. And Randall's a racer. He's raced himself. His brother owns Millbridge. He's into racing. He loves racing. A lot of the guys in my car have been in racing a long time or come from dirt racing and kind of have a familiarity with who I am. So we all get along very, very well.
Cool.
That's cool. Heck yeah.
I feel like you have. I feel like if you look at Tyler Reddick, the NASCAR driver, you don't see the whole picture. I feel like you have one of maybe the more interesting backgrounds in racing and where you come from, the stuff you've done, because a lot of people only see maybe a lot of people that just watch on TV only see what you did from the BKR days on, and if you're kind of in the scene here, you only really see what you did with Schrader's car on, but a lot of people don't see. And I think that they've done a good job of talking about you and Kyle Larson growing up racing together at Cycle Land and all that in California. But one thing you don't see a lot about is you and your uncle Scott Bloomquist.
Yeah.
Is he your godfather?
Uncle Scotty.
He's not my godfather.
He's not?
Is he okay right now?
Are you rubbing?
got
Have you
broken
gone?
leg
Have
right
you
now.
I
gone there and
haven't
rubbed
talked.
his leg?
I really wanted to call Scott whenever I heard what happened. But I figured I'd just give him a little bit of space because I'm sure everyone on planet Earth that was as close as I am to him has been calling him to see if he's okay. I'm sure I was torn. I'm sure he wants to hear from me, but I don't know. With so many people probably calling him to see how he's doing, he's probably got a lot going on. But I was excited to hear the news about him teaming up with, is it? I can't remember the guy's name.
Summers.
Yep.
Cody
Cody
Summers.
Summers,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Sorry, Cody, if you're listening to this.
He doesn't listen.
Okay,
It's
well, that's good.
I'm
No,
trying to
he's
get him
not
on
listening
here.
about it.
If you are listening, call me because I'm trying to get in touch with him to get him on here.
Yeah,
He's
so
an interesting
when I
guy.
heard about that deal, it was somewhat exciting for me because, I don't know what the future holds, but it's helping Scott. Scott's had a lot of instability around him, and it's no secret, they're showing up to the track late, things are getting done when they need to, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that deal just brings him some stability. I still talk to Tommy Hicks a lot, and he's doing his own thing now. But he was telling me he went over there and saw Scott. He thought Scott was doing a lot better. Scott's losing weight, not like scary losing weight,
Well,
but
he's got
like,
broke legs.
he's got a broke leg, and you'd think he'd probably gain weight not moving around, but he's actually losing weight. He's doing really well from what Tommy says. So I don't know. Tommy seemed pretty excited about it, almost to the point where he's like on the fence about maybe giving it one last hurrah, which I would have thought happened after the last split. So.
Now, what's Tommy do? He's crew chief?
Tommy Hicks. Yeah, he was. If anything, you might remember his look more so than the name.
Yeah.
Tommy. Tommy was the guy that was with Scott for like
Unmistakable.
10 years. Had the long white hair, the long white beard, wear the hat backwards. You know what I'm talking
Gandalf
about?
there, man.
He.
Hey, man,
He
I'm
worked.
just having you we're on the radio here. I'm having you paint a picture. all
Yeah,
right? Don't
that's
come and
true.
don't fire at
Hey,
me because I
sorry.
didn't race dirt late models.
Sorry.
I feel I'm
Well, I
I'm
just
the
feel
victim here. All right.
Like we've talked modifieds all last week, and I just sat over here, so now we can. This is why I had Tyler on, so we could talk dirt late models.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about you. How did you end up with Scott and in that deal? Because you grew up in California racing outlaw karts, and then
Yeah.
you and Kyle Larson kind of you
Took two
raced,
different
yeah,
paths.
but
Yeah.
you also went together. You went to Bandoleros
Yeah.
and started doing some asphalt stuff together, and then you moved to
Yeah.
where Illinois, where to Nashville or where
Yeah,
the hell you moved
I was
to.
trying to race mini sprints in California, and people figured out I was lying about my age. And
Well,
we
it
went-
didn't look like
we-
you were just this little ginger kid.
I know
You
we
looked
went
about
to
8
we went to
years
Great
younger than you
Great
were.
Lakes, like fabricating birth certificates to all sorts of stuff, and people still figured it out. So there was someone out there that I don't know who it was, but someone out there that knew who my actual age was and had the proof to back it up.
The problem is you looked
Got us.
like you were
I know.
6 years old.
I know.
He still
You
does.
still do.
He looks 12.
So
still.
when you were younger and you're those pictures of you guys when you were racing Bandoleros, I was like, damn, he looks like he's 5 years old.
Yeah. And that worked against
That's
me.
how they figured it out.
That
That's
worked
just a
against me
guess.
for sure. No, it did. There was some people out there trying to stop it from happening too. But it ended up being a good thing because it got us out of California and got us over the hump into the Midwest racing Power I and doing stuff over there.
So you ran midgets?
Yeah, first Power I, then I couldn't run midgets. I was way too young. The guys at USAC wanted me to run the Focus midget, and I thought that was a waste of time because Mini Sprint had more power to weight. It was more challenging to drive than those things ever would have been. So I didn't want to bother with that. So, I made the most logical decision at the time, and that since we couldn't go race midgets, why not go race sprint cars since they're going to let me race sprint cars? I said I was 14. I was really 10, 11 years old, and I went racing 410 sprint cars in Indiana.
Wingless or wing?
Wingless. Yeah, I'm not a big. I love watching wing cars, but my desire to race them's not really there. I just like non-wing sprint cars better. But my dad was so concerned with, those cars can be pretty unstable to go fast, and he was so worried about me flipping,
non-wing sprint
rumbling,
cars?
tumbling. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty.
yeah.
Yes.
The most unsafe.
Yeah.
By far the
Yeah.
most unsafe
And
car.
so, it was frustrating at times, even for me being as young as I was. I was having fun going out there and racing, but I'm competitive. And
Where
he
were
was,
you racing at? Like Kokomo and
I
all?
race at Kokomo. I race at Lawrenceburg once or twice. We go to Putnamville, in Lincolnton, Indiana, quite a bit. I've been to Bloomington, Indiana. There's a couple others. I went to Paragon once,
So
and
you're
that's when
running 410 full blown.
Yeah.
Wow.
I went to Paragon once, raced against Chase Briscoe and his dad, and they kicked our ass. Made me look really, really
At
bad.
the age of 12.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that wasn't good.
So
but
so then what
the
leads
grip
you
up
to
tracks
Scott?
was fun. Well, we got into late model racing because some people were getting hurt in the sprint cars. So yeah, we were just over it. Like my dad was over it.
What's the transition like from a 410 sprint
gosh.
car to a big
It was
to
so
a
it was
big
bad.
late models are big.
It was bad. I've never been in a full-bodied car before. And we got paired up with Clint Smith and Tim Fuller, and I went down to Deep South Speedway. I can't remember what state it is. I was so young, but it's a high banked red clay that looks like Bull's Gap, but isn't quite as extreme as Bull's Gap. I think I was in Clint's car, and I'm not gonna lie, the first little bit it was really bad. I wasn't used to how slow the steering was, and I ran the car up on the wall and went down the wall like on two wheels, frame rail, dragging the wall. Like I just couldn't. The steering was way too slow for me.
So nothing's really changed, right?
No,
On
ever
the wall.
since I got in full body cars, I'm bouncing off walls.
So
So the transition was really tough.
dude,
but by
those
the end of
cars
the
are
day,
huge.
yeah,
I
they're
went
big,
to
big.
Chris Ferguson's shop the other day to pick up a seat powder coat for him, and I walked in. He's got two of them. He's got two Bloomquist cars, and you don't realize how big. And I'm used to working around Cup cars now, and they're probably a foot and a half wider than a Cup. They're humongous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was my most challenging thing. I got in this car and I felt like I was in a semi. It was so wide that I just couldn't understand where the right side of my car was. And I've always been an open wheel car, so my right rear tire is right here normally, or a little bit further in a sprint car.
and you can
So I knew
almost
where the
see
wall
where
was.
your front
Yeah.
tires are.
And when you're in this late model, it feels like you got this big, wide, deck. And it is. You got this enormous deck just laying in front of you. And you just don't know when it ends when you first get in it. It just was so overwhelming to me because all I ever did was open wheel. By the end of the day, we started running really, really good. And World of Outlaws was kind of like, we went down there with Clint, like I said, Clint Smith and Tim Fuller. And World of Outlaws, people were there watching because we wanted to run World of Outlaws. And they were skeptical about it. They wanted to make sure I wasn't, like, terrible. And by the end of the day, they were happy enough with it that they said, yeah, I mean, we're okay with it.
We'll
I
let
get a
you
late
run.
model, and you can come run with us. And from there, it was a lot of getting ran to the dirt by veterans.
Did
and
you
for,
run a
for
full
5 years, I got just nothing but annihilated.
So you ran for points for 5 years?
Well, the first year I followed them. First 2 years I followed World of Outlaws the full time. And then I switched over to Lucas, ran full time 2 years on that. And we never really had any championship
So how old
runs.
were you when you started? 14?
No, I was 12, I think.
12. And
12
then-
or 11.
And
11
then
and a half, 12.
So then you come onto the NASCAR scene with Schrader
Yeah.
at Rockingham.
Yeah.
You
In
put that
ARCA.
thing.
I ran 2 ARCA races with
Was it
with
Arca?
Schrader too.
Yeah, Arca.
Okay, you ran Arca
Larry Moore,
first.
crew chief.
He ran
yeah.
over Brett Moffitt.
No, that was K&M.
That was an
that was
Arca.
K&M.
That was a
yeah.
K&M
You're right.
finale.
You're right.
Yeah, Brett was K&M.
Did you win your first Arca race you got in?
No, I got lapped like 3 times by Eric Jones. It was me
Ooh.
and Eric Jones made our first Arca races together, and he was in a
Rough day.
Venturini car, and he just smoked everybody.
But you won the first K&N race you got in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got lapped really a lot of times at Mobile, Alabama. I just asphalt was just so odd to me.
Well, and especially
when I-
Mobile, because it's like
Yeah, I mean, I
Old.
kid you not, Mobile was my first ever asphalt race.
well,
an Arca
and
car.
if you bring a guy that is used to being on the gas in a dirt car to a track like that where you have to be out of the gas and saving tires, and Rockingham is more your speed.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Well, when we went to Salem after that, and yeah, Salem's when we were on the fence 3 and 4. And we actually had a pretty good car. We didn't get the finish we wanted to because we were having to come down pit road every time under caution because I didn't know how to shut the motor off, keep it from overheating. I kid you not, we would blow steam in 2 minutes under caution, so we were having to come in, plug a cool down unit on, we'd lose laps. I finished 8th that day. Like, I could run with the front runners, but we just had a lot of problems keeping the car cool. A lot of that was me, but yeah, the first
Did you
K&N
know how to
race.
shift? Were you okay with shifting?
Oh,
I
So the
lived this. We'll get to this. I lived
yeah.
that.
You want to get to it now?
I
Or a little
know.
bit?
No.
Oh
Let's go,
yeah,
Let's go to Rockingham.
I forgot you were on his truck
Let's-
team.
yeah,
back
I
then.
was on
yeah,
your truck
yeah,
team.
that's
Well,
the-
at one time I went to St. Louis. Fly to St. Louis, then you fly to Sonoma the same night, and we go to St. Louis, and then we make to the start finish line. He blows the transmission out of it. That's a story for another time. You go to you go to Rockingham with the East car, and you're running well, and then about 5 laps to go, you're on the fence and you're passing everybody. You get to Brett Moffitt, he tries to throw a block, you give him the haymaker, he loses the championship, you win it for Kyle Larson, your buddy. Now it's starting to make sense. You guys grew up together.
it's
you wrecked
full
Kyle.
circle.
Yeah,
It's
see?
full circle. Yeah.
But you get out of the car and you got a bowl cut, red hair. Who the hell is
Did
this
you have a
kid?
bowl
People are
cut? Did you cut your-
everyone's. I don't.
Did you
I
cut your
can't-
hair for that race?
I
No, he had
actually I trimmed it for that race. Yeah,
Because it used to be down to his
it was
shoulders,
longer,
Like,
and I cut it quite a bit for that race.
That's part of racing for Scott, though, right?
yeah, you could grow your
no,
hair out.
I had the hair before Scott.
Oh, okay.
That's why he took him on.
You think he'll ever grow
I had-
back?
So I caught a lot of
You should.
grief from people through those years because they're like, "You grow your hair out because Justin Bieber." I'd like to say on the show that I had my hair long before that kid ever became anybody, but everyone just thought I was trying to like.
You're doing better than he is now. I think he's in rehab, so
Yeah.
Oh really? I thought he was married.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I
Maybe
don't-
he's
know.
married and in rehab.
I
I
don't
don't know.
keep up with him.
Maybe he got married in rehab.
Yeah, he doesn't have long hair anymore. That's all I know.
Who knows?
He fell off. So
Is that why you cut your hair? Because he cut his?
yes, absolutely. That's what everyone says. So I just run with it and be sarcastic about it.
When I first met Tyler, he was about 13 maybe, and I was like, "Hey man," I was working on a dirt team, and I was kind of painting helmets like halfway, and I was like, "Let me paint your helmets." He's
So
like,
still the same as like you do now?
"Yeah, pretty
Kind
much."
of half-assed?
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, somebody else paints my helmets or whatever." And so I didn't get his
Yeah,
helmets till he
that's
got till he moved here.
pre-puberty.
Yeah.
Look,
You know?
Someone painted helmets for free, and I was like, "Oh, free!"
Who paint Matt Carver?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he actually texted me today. Actually,
Yeah.
he wants to come out here and hang out for a week, and I was like, "Yeah, come on."
I remember when
He's
I
a
was
cool dude.
changing tires on your truck, you didn't have Greg. Because you'd hang out here all the time, but you still had somebody else doing your helmets, which was
Yeah.
cool because
When
you were
was-
loyal to the guy.
You didn't, yeah, like
Oh,
when you first.
Kelly.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kelly Coker, you were
Kelly
with him
Coker.
because of Bell helmets.
And then
Tyler
Greg
just kept getting on the
snagged
free deals, and I was like, I can't give you free.
it. Yeah,
I gotta make a living. Yeah, I gotta eat here.
So
Was
then
that the
you,
first helmet?
No, your first helmet was that's your Xfinity helmet from Ganassi.
Ganassi, yeah.
Your first helmet, we did a BKR helmet for
Oh
Cooper
yeah.
Standard.
Cooper Standard helmet.
I think we did one more for BKR, a Ford helmet, because you won. You ran
Yes,
Homestead
carbon
with it.
fiber Ford
yeah,
helmet.
yeah, yeah. So we did a couple for
and Cooper
BKR when
Standard,
you first
yeah.
moved out here.
Okay.
Yep. I was
Yeah,
kind of
I
like
remember those helmets.
I was kind of his godparent when he first moved out here, and then I did a terrible job and I let him go, and now he just runs wild.
I wouldn't say you did a
That's
terrible
it.
job.
His parents moved him out here, and they were like, "Hey,"
I'm uncoachable.
they were like, "Hey, can you look after Tyler?" And I was like, "Yeah, how hard could it be?" And then like 1 year in, I'm like, "Oh wow, this is tough." I took him to SEMA 1 year. Whew.
Did you lose him?
That's where he lost me, actually.
Pretty much.
Is that where you lost me?
Yeah, he dressed like a leprechaun on Halloween night out there.
Did you seriously?
And
Yes.
yeah, he walked around, and we were walking out of our
Did you
hotel.
get tips?
No,
Everyone was dressed up as Vegas and Halloween, so.
except Matt DiBenedetto. He had a
Except,
pirate hat on.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're walking out of the hotel, and the king walks by. And he's like, starts laughing, and he wanted a picture with him.
Richard?
Yeah, Richard.
You got that picture anywhere?
It's somewhere. It's probably on Facebook
It's somewhere.
or
It's.
somewhere.
I've never seen Richard. I haven't seen Richard in a long time without sunglasses on, and his eyes are fairly small. I feel like his eyes about popped out of his head when he saw me dressed up as a leprechaun.
It's pretty
I've never seen his
funny.
eyes get so big. I was like, oh.
I think
jeez.
my eyes would pop out of my head if I saw you dressed up like
I
a
still got the
leprechaun.
suit.
Not because it was you dressed up like a leprechaun. I would just feel like I saw a real leprechaun for a minute until I realized it was you.
Yeah, everyone thought I was a real leprechaun on Halloween.
It was pretty funny. Good times.
He had a pot of gold and everything.
Yep. So what are you, where we go next? Dover? What's your plans for the rest of the year? Just ride? Because now you're into the chase like last year?
Yeah, I mean that's what I did last year. You know, I just
I'll
I
never
just won
forget
Daytona.
that.
I'm like, I'm just gonna cruise here.
Last year
till-
won
till the
Daytona the
playoffs.
first race, and he's like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm
you
just
legitimately,
I'm gonna fly under the radar.
came here and said, "Yeah, I think I'll just take off to the chase." I'm like, "That's a bold strategy." Yeah, man, whatever.
I mean, honestly.
No, that's the way it looked, and
Well,
it
what do
was
you need to do?
couldn't be further from the truth. But yeah, it really looked like one Daytona. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do a bunch of stupid stuff.
I spotted
playoffs.
Hey, I'll be at Saeed's. Just stop by here when the chase starts.
yeah,
I'll be ready.
part-time job.
I'll be here up the doorman at Saeed's till the playoffs started. Playoffs started.
I spotted for him last year, and I got 2 more DNFs added to my
Where at?
spotter resume.
Road America
Mid-Ohio.
and Mid Ohio.
Did you
yeah.
wreck in the keyhole where Greg was spotting?
No, he actually didn't wreck any of my segments, but I did watch him get stuck in the sand traps. That was pretty entertaining.
I would say that for dirt guys, that seems to be the hardest road course.
You think?
It tends to be.
You know, I thought that, but then I went to. I think braking is the hardest thing for dirt guys. Not necessarily the road course, because I went to the Roval and it was one of my better races of the year. Like I've
Were you
never
off the brakes there a lot.
no, but like heavy braking area. You only had like 2 or 3 heavy braking zones, and I don't know the braking zones that were heavy. Actually, no. Yeah, you only had one heavy braking zone. I feel like, and that was
Getting the bus stop.
getting into the bus stop. I was really bad there, but I was
I think
really good getting
everyone was.
into 15 and 16 on the front straightaway. That one where it was bumpy, I was good there. But the rest of the racetrack, you're kind of just like part throttling on, a little bit of brake, just really taking it easy and cruising, and just being finessing the car around the racetrack because it's very like edgy with the grip because
Yeah.
they just repaved all of it
So
and we
I feel
had
like it's
hard tires.
right up a dirt alley. Dirt
Yeah, it
driver's
just felt like
alley.
you're on ice floating around, and when you're in the entire infield, you're just in second gear. You're never go down to first gear.
Really.
So in that entire section, I was one of the better cars all weekend long. I could really get through that section well because one, I'm not shifting, not using a lot of heavy braking. You're just doing things to the limit of the car. But the heavy braking zones around the racetrack, I was a lot worse. Like in qualifying, I qualified second or third, qualified third. Sorry, to Austin Cedric, Daniel Hemrick.
Oh yeah.
And I was 7/10 to the good through the tighter the infield portion of the racetrack, and I lost over a second in the bus stop to Austin.
Really?
Yeah.
Where'd you end up finishing?
I think I ended up finishing 8th or 9th. We would have really good qualifying and takeoff speed, so we could get out and get away from guys, and 1 or 2 would pick us off as the run would go on. So that last run, I think I fell back to like 8th, but at one time I was knocking on Cindric's door in the beginning of the race, trying to pass him. But then our car just kind of went away from us. I think we're just a
that was
little
a fun race
aggressive
to
to go
watch.
fast early on. It was a lot of fun to drive.
I'll tell you what.
and-
Going back to Dover this weekend makes me think of when I was with you at BKR. You know, there was was that the first race you won with them?
I won Daytona that year too.
You
That
won,
was first.
you won
like,
Daytona, but
Oh,
Daytona,
yeah.
everybody's like, okay, Daytona.
Yeah, like yeah.
But that I felt like when I had first met you and you started running for BKR, and I was kind of at the track with you. It was kind of a sink or swim moment. Like, okay, how's this kid gonna be? And then Dover, I feel like was a big statement for you, and it's like, okay, this kid has the ability to have a long career in the sport. And what other races did you go on the win over there?
Well, I didn't win again until
That-
my following year at the very end of the season. when
because
didn't
I
even
remember
make- I
that
didn't
was
make
like
the
a
playoffs.
really trying year. But Brad's stuff wasn't the greatest that year either. I feel like
It's hard to say.
you're getting outperformed by Toyotas. and Chevys because you guys were the sole Ford team. But still, that team seems to be that team now that it's gone. It seemed to breed a lot of good talent.
Yeah,
There's
like
a lot of guys.
every
that
driver that's been in that car, I feel like is still in NASCAR, or
so
is
it
plugging
started
away.
with
Up there.
Blaney,
Yeah, Blaney,
Ross
Ross,
Chastain,
yep,
you,
Daniel Hemrick,
Daniel Hemrick,
Cindric.
Cindric, Chase
Cindric,
Briscoe,
Chase Briscoe, Austin,
Terrio,
who took a
yeah.
step down and went and won an ARCA championship the next year.
Yeah.
The funding's not there for him, but he's
He's
done well.
Gets it done, yeah.
So I feel like that was, and it's a shame that it had to go away, but that I feel like that team almost bred more people or more young drivers to be successful, and then it was crazy where your career went because it kind of went Ganassi and you floundered around a little bit and you landed the 9 ride and pulled the upset of the century last year, which was badass.
Yeah.
But then this year you have been you'd fired off, and I felt like you made a big statement last year at Darlington. Did you with that helmet on?
Yeah, this one right
Because you
here.
drove the living shit out of that car last year at Darlington, and I was like, it was almost to me sitting back and just watching races on Saturday and not being there. I was like, little Tyler's got something figured out now, and that's when I felt like after that you were close to the front and almost gained some confidence back. Do you feel like confidence is a big part of your game?
It is. Very early on last year, in Virginia Motorsports, we fired off and we won at Daytona, which was crazy, obviously. And like you said, it's one of those races where you can win there, and it's not going to set the tone for how your year's going to be.
Correct.
We went to Atlanta. We ran 5th all day. We had a flat. We had a poor finish, unfortunately, because of it. I think we went to Vegas, and we ran like 4th or 5th all day, nothing crazy. But we restarted in the front row, and I just got schooled by Kyle Larson on that last restart. I went from actually, yeah, I don't know if I was the leader when I came out of that restart, but I was second, and I went from second to 6th in that race. Got schooled by all the Cup guys in that race. Had another disappointing finish. To then go to, I believe it was, did we go to Phoenix then Fontana? I think it was. I go to Fontana and
The
I
West
wreck in
Coast.
qualifying.
I just get on the plane, and wherever the plane lands, that's where we're going.
I wrecked in
anymore.
qualifying
Done.
at Phoenix. Another place we had good speed. I wrecked in qualifying. We had an hour and a half to get the backup car.
Yeah,
ready.
you wrecked. You
was-
went to a lot of backup cars there at the beginning of the season. I do remember
lot of
that.
I only went to
Or-
one backup car.
Or no, a lot of
Right
tail
sides.
panels and
Right
right rear.
sides.
Yeah,
I
right
only
sides.
went to one backup
Because you could
car
bolt
all
them
year.
on last year.
I remember the one race where Allgaier was out of the car rewrapping your car because
Yeah, I can't remember where we were.
you
I think it
trashed
was
so much
Richmond
stuff.
or somewhere like that. But no,
But-
like we had a lot of speed early in the year. We couldn't get any of the finishes. We go to Fontana. I run second to Joey all day. Could never really get the lead. We have a caution late, and I make mistakes at the end of that race, and no good. Then I can't remember. I think we had Texas. We were fast. 3 speeding penalties. Like with the capability to run good was there, but I just didn't execute at all.
And
Then
you
we get
had
to
0.
Charlotte.
By the time the summer came, you had 0 confidence.
It was gone. I lost all my confidence at Charlotte. They didn't really smack our hands, but they smacked everybody's hands and said, all right, like, no more messing around with splitters or angles. They got to be completely flat. And when that happened, it totally shifted the balance of our cars to where they were turning just enough to where they wouldn't turn at all anymore. And from that point on, we did a lot of searching to find something that would work at Homestead, and we kind of figured something out at Chicagoland, but everywhere else, we just couldn't turn good enough anywhere. And I was so desperate to run fast. I was just like, take the back out of the track, take the back of the car out of the racetrack so I can turn it. And it just ended up a lot of wrecked race cars, a lot of right sides missing. But talking about Darlington and the playoff stretch, I'd say with 3 races to go in the season, we had Indianapolis, Darlington, and Las Vegas. And I told Dave, sat me down, and was like, look, this isn't good. Like we're gonna be out of this thing in the first round of the playoffs. The way we're running, we're gonna be the last car. We're the first car out. And so we sat down and said we need to have a game plan. We need to approach these last 3 races like the first round of our playoffs. And so we went into Indy, and it was a whole new mentality. It brought the whole focus of the whole regular season down to 1. And from there, we race smart at Indy. I could have went for the win at Indy, but I thought points. Darlington thought points. Vegas, I had a big mistake, and it was a good last reminder before the playoffs started, like, you can't do this anymore. And from there, we just kept that approach from there to the end of the season. And ever since, that just the way I think about races and the way I go about races, I pretend it's 3 races every time almost.
Yeah.
So I don't go off on these tangents of just wrecking, trying to go really fast. And having cars that are a little bit faster, a little bit more my style has helped that too. But just trying to be smarter when I do races helped a lot.
Well, this schedule, the NASCAR schedule doesn't do anybody. I mean, whether it's drivers or I know from the pit crew side or anything, when you lose confidence, it has a good way of beating you down until you just finally have those come to Jesus meetings and go, what the hell are we doing? And I know from working with you that your confidence level, especially when you're younger, like most young guys, it's like up and down, week to week almost. And that was cool to see you guys figure it out last year. And then even though you left and transitioned to a new team, how you guys have fired off this year. You've been in the hunt. I feel like you and the 7 car have been the only ones that have been able to keep the 20 car honest. And I think there's a couple of small things this year that have happened, and I don't know if you agree, that have happened that have kept you from beating him, whether it was I don't remember exactly, parts failures or some stuff happening.
We've had some mistakes along the way. But one thing that happened that happens a lot in racing that I'm just not going to let happen to my team and us, our 2 guys, is blaming one individual for something happening. And beginning of the year when we had pit stops weren't going right, this wasn't going right, just things weren't happening right. One person didn't get up on a platform and yell at, this is your fault, you messed this up, like, you need to figure it out. We all got together and I told the guys, I'm like, look, we're going to figure out these issues on pit road. We're going to figure out, whatever it was. We haven't had too many problems yet this year, but when we have had problems, that we don't go to blaming each other. We all band together and we figure out how to fix it, and we go out there and fix it. Very easily, I feel like, our pit crew between Daytona and Atlanta, they were pretty beaten up on themselves, and the last thing they needed to hear was me say, you guys need to figure this out, and I didn't lay on them at all. I told them, I believe in you guys. I know you guys got this. And when we figure this out, we're going to win some races, and we're going to show them what we got. And that seemed to motivate them. They're really excited about showing up on Saturday and racing, and that motivates me. And my guys were motivated to have me come in off my championship. It fired them up. We've been firing each other up instead of beating each other down, and that's what we should do as a team.
Look at you, being a leader.
I wouldn't say I'm the leader, but
just growing up. You got any old school Tyler Reddick dirt shirts?
No, they're all gone.
I've got a few. My dad.
I'll straight up trade shirts with you.
For what? Ryan Flores shirt?
But I do need to hunt them down and give them out to
You should hunt them
select
down.
few.
We should be on that select few.
You are.
So every week we watch some videos.
I really thought I sweated through this couch.
It's leather.
Stop it. And Daryl brings these in. We're just going to commentate them. They're always great.
Okay, I haven't done this. Now I'm actually going to sweat more.
There's probably some right sides missing.
Ooh.
All right, here we go. First one.
Okay, who's going to be the main commentator?
Oh, that's Nardo.
Is that Nardo? This doesn't look like right-sided it the first time. Told you.
That was me at Talladega. Do we get to get one
flip
replay?
like
Do we get a replay?
Yeah, we can get a replay.
It's a replay.
Here we go. I don't know why the lights are on the top.
As you can see, this is my year last year. Going great. Oh, there's a wall. I hit it. I'm on my side. We're tipped over.
Backup car.
Backup going to the playoffs. We're going to the playoffs.
Maybe that's how you
We still won Daytona. It's okay. All right. By the way, if you're listening to this, you can watch all these on our Facebook.
What's the firing order?
Or not our Facebook, our YouTube channel.
What's the firing order on this? Do you commentate first, or we all
no, we just all watch
it.
You do it. You're in the
People get mad at me because they're listening on iTunes. They're like, I can't see the video. It's on YouTube.
Help! It looks like some good old-fashioned racing. Oh, someone's missing a corner.
Oh,
what the heck?
And that was a boat. That looks like
that's a fancy
Texas. That lake at Texas.
Oh, where they used to have all the cars on
really
They don't have that anymore.
This looks like no. This is me at every single road course.
This is
going right to the sand pit.
Literally,
that was
right there.
it's raining. That was me at Road America on my cool down lap, just cruising along.
That's a true cool down lap.
Canada corner is coming up and straight into the sand pit.
Do you remember?
But this was water.
Mid Ohio, it rained that first day, and Tyler was the first car on the track. Right, it rained.
Same at Road America.
All the spotters are like.
Same at Road America.
Maybe it was. No, yeah, it was Road America. Yeah, so all the spotters are just there hanging out, and then they're like, "Oh, car's on track," It's the 9. Wow! Just
So,
hauling the mail
look-
down. Like, nope. No
Look,
more.
you've got all the grip in the world when it comes to stopping and going. And Justin's the one that told me that. And I could feel it out. So I just wanted to make it sound like I was going really fast,
Dude.
but I was really putting around the corners.
Alright, third video.
All right, this looks like
Radical, that car.
oh.
And he's gone.
Dude, he just jumped it.
Nobody's ever
That was
actually
like,
ever heard from that guy again.
That thing looks
Plot
like it's got
twist.
some
This is
downforce.
Pikes Peak mini edition.
I'm surprised
He's like this.
surprised
Those
it
cars
got
are
in the
flying
air
off.
like that.
he just dipped the right sides off and gone.
So that stuff you do in video games, and like if that was Need for Speed or Burnout, you'd find a shortcut on the other side.
Oh, it's like Mario Kart.
Mario?
Yeah.
Mario Kart.
Mario.
Yeah, I'm a Yankee.
Mario Kart.
Mario
Was
Kart.
that-
Yankee.
What was that on?
And I have a
PlayStation or
feeling
Xbox?
we're about to see why they don't make Vipers anymore.
Right here in the rain.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, that is not a Viper. That's a Ferrari.
It's actually a 410 sprint car. They do that.
Yeah, that's a.
That's what it looks like.
I don't think he was ever gonna make the corner there.
Oh.
Ooh, that's pretty soft. That's a safer barrier working so well, as you can see
Go
right
back
there.
and
First
watch
generation.
this first car that jumps in the air.
He don't make the corner either.
Dude,
I mean, I've done some wheel stands on a 4-wheeler before, but that guy's got me beat.
that's gnarly.
And that guy, in true Tyler Reddick fashion, bouncing off the wall.
It's all right.
So
That's what the
elegant.
wall's for.
I
To
feel
stop
like
you.
all these were put on here for a reason.
It's just me. It's just so I can
Alright,
say, oh, this is me
Last
wrecking.
one. Last
Whoa.
one. There's
Oh,
a
the
dog.
dog. Dog's going faster
Oh,
than the race
gosh.
car. And the dog lost.
That's it. That was just the dog
The
running
dog.
after it.
The dog really charged into the corner hard, had a
dog-
lot of momentum,
The dog's digging
but
here.
just spun its tires on exit really bad and just couldn't get back out of the hole.
Splash.
The drove into the corner really hard, as you can see here, just not getting the traction that the. Well, I don't even know what that is that's ahead of it.
Max
That's
would
actually
make it.
chicks chasing you out of Talladega once you hit the 200-pound trophy. That's what that was.
Are you ever gonna race some rallycross stuff or anything like that? You ever had any interest in doing that? I feel like that
So-
marries the two, right?
I look at mountain biking like rallycross,
Yeah.
and every time I've been on a mountain bike, I don't know how fast or how slow to go.
I feel like you're a 110% kind of guy. Just
I wreck. I've almost broke. I should have broken a few things on a mountain bike because I go as hard as I can, as fast as I
Yeah.
can, and that would be me in a rally car. I would wreck on the third corner,
just done.
just flying through the air like that little go-kart thing was a little second ago,
yeah.
just right off the guardrail into a ditch. That'd be me.
We believe in you.
Do you have anything else to tell us? Anything interesting going
you wanna
on?
get off your chest?
This is the place to do it.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, which this would have been 2 days after, by the time everyone hears this.
That's how the future works.
Yeah, this is so weird. We'll be announcing I'll be running the 31 car at Kansas
Oh dang.
on the off weekend.
That's another question I was gonna ask you. When you're gonna run Cup
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, 31 car with Justin Alexander again. Sponsorship, who's going to be on the car partner may not be announced by Friday
Off
or
axis.
today or whenever you're hearing this.
Off axis paint
Do you want to be on the car?
on the hood. Yeah.
Just paint the whole car.
Nah.
It's not painted yet.
Ooh.
But yeah, run a 31 car at Kansas. I was wanting to do Fontana, but logistically it was really hard, and they didn't know a lot about these cars yet, so they pressed me to kind of wait. And I like Kansas. I feel like it's going to be pretty fast, but you're going to be able to move around. And I just got this feeling that running the wall
Yep.
somehow, some way is going to come into play, and I want to find out if I can do anything about
It's
it.
a lot like Kentucky. You're pretty good there as well. So
I'm
I
excited.
want to see if the
for
fence
you.
is going to work at Kansas.
When
so
you
I'm
when
putting,
you
putting
win,
all the money on a cup car.
that's true. He did. When you win,
Yeah.
continue getting out with the helmet on. That's really very nice.
You like
of
it?
Yeah, you're one of the only one that still does that. It's pretty cool pictures when I can put on the wall here.
What a guy.
The only
He's a
thing
nice
about
guy.
that was a little unfortunate is I got out of the car, got soaked. I'm like, oh, I gotta qualify in this helmet in about 20 minutes.
Uh,
And it had to get cleaned.
Oh,
It
well.
was stinky, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna complain.
That's
I'd
the
rather win and
that's
have
the problems you have
helmets
when you
covered
win.
in twisted tea.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for announcing 2 days late that you're gonna
Yeah,
run Cup.
I know. You're welcome.
And
It's kind of 2 days late.
it's fine. And we'll
Time
see
travel.
you
Some
at the next weekend, I guess.
sounds good.
thanks, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.